The love of alcohol is a common human culture shared by most people in most cultures. In fact, humans are addictive animals. It's not just alcohol, there are many things that make us addicted, like coffee and cigarettes. But the oldest among them is, of course, alcohol. Over a long history, almost all attempts to ban alcohol have failed. And it is still loved by mankind to the extent that more than 100 billion liters of alcohol are consumed every year around the world. So when did humans start drinking alcohol? And why are people so addicted to alcohol in this day and age when there are so many other things to do? In this video, we'll learn about the alcohol we drank together with the history of mankind. Alcohol. Do you like? Let's get started. Just as humans today still enjoy eating fruit, most omnivores also love and eat a lot of fruit. The sweetness is the fundamental reason animals love fruit, because sugar is the most efficient energy source available in the wild. So, in the wild, competition for fruits is happening every moment, every day. This competition can be divided into round 1, which takes place inside the world of fruit, and round 2, which takes place outside the world of fruit. Round 1, where various bacteria and molds compete to occupy the honey pot full of moisture and sugar. What appears here is yeast. Yeast flies out of the air or is contained in the fruit in advance, and when the fruit is ripe and has enough sugar, it quickly consumes it and turns it into alcohol. This is the process we call fermentation, and when this happens, other bacteria and fungi are not active, so the fruit can be eaten for a little longer. Then, the scent of alcohol from nature's fruits is a good sign, right? It means it's ripe and ready to eat, and the risk of germs has been eliminated. The second round opens as all kinds of animals that smell the alcohol flock to the fruit. Of course, humans were also one of the main participants in the second round, and sometimes, when they found a huge amount and had the opportunity to eat a lot, they could even feel drunk while having a delicious fruit party. Thinking, can we not enjoy this blissful feeling more often? Humans later set up shelters in safe caves and dug out stones or trees to use bowls. Then he picked a bunch of fruit, put them together, and started fermenting them on purpose. As such, fruit was the easiest ingredient to make into alcohol. It is rich in monosaccharides that are easy for yeast to break down, and it has a lot of moisture. Of course, later, alcohol was made not only from fruits but also from other ingredients. In cold regions where fruits are hard to find, mead was made by fermenting honey by diluting it with water. And after farming began, alcohol was made using grains with high preservation. However, there was a problem with fruit wine, such as wine, that it had to be consumed as soon as possible after making it. This is because the oxygen in the air activates the bacteria in the alcohol, turning the alcohol into acetic acid and eventually into vinegar. And in the case of grain liquor like beer, the process of making it was very difficult. This is because yeast can only break down simple sugars. Unlike fruits, grains are made of starch, a polysaccharide, so an enzyme, amylase, is needed to break it down. That amylase was, sadly, in human saliva. So, in the early days, grain givers had to ferment it by first processing it by chewing and spitting it out. It was in the Bronze Age when civilization began to advance that the liquor in its present form appeared. The Phoenicians of the Mediterranean developed a method of coating the inside of the bottle with rosin, which allowed the wine to last longer and could be exported across the sea. Also, the Egyptians sprouted barley, and the Chinese cultivated aspergillus mold to obtain amylase, which replaces human saliva. In addition, the drinking culture of each region was actively exchanged through the gradually developing trade network. Beer made its way to Northern Europe, grapes began to be grown throughout the Mediterranean world, and brewing techniques traveled as far east as China via the Silk Road. Even in ancient times, alcohol was of great religious importance because of its intoxicating properties. Therefore, in any mythology in the world, there is always a being who made alcohol and taught it to humans. However, after entering the Middle Ages and dividing the world into two halves by various religions, the attitude toward alcohol changed depending on the values of each religion. For example, in Christianity, wine was regarded as a symbol of life given by God, the blood of Christ, and was sacred. However, this difference in position ironically led to another evolution of alcohol. Mesopotamia and Persia had a deep tradition of beer and wine from ancient times, but after Islam was spread and alcohol was banned, they treated alcohol as a material for exploration and alchemy, and began to conduct various experiments. What was discovered in those experiments was alcohol. When wine or beer is heated to a certain temperature, a suspicious clear liquid forms on the lid and separates, and it was discovered that there was alcohol in the separated liquid. Originally, the word al-Kuhl in Arabic meant a powder applied during makeup, but the meaning was moved to a liquid distilled by mixing the powder with water, and later passed on to Europe as alcohol. In the Islamic world, distilled alcohol is widely used for disinfection and dyeing, and has opened a new world in medicine and industry. However, when this alcohol distillation technology spreads to other regions where alcohol is not banned, another new world opens up. Existing alcohol did not have a high alcohol content, and because it contained various ingredients, it caused severe hangovers. But with distillation, I was able to get a good drink with a much stronger alcohol content and getting rid of ingredients that were not important. In particular, Europe, which was in contact with the Islamic world, immediately accepted this technology and independently researched and developed it. At the time, doctors in Salerno, Italy, the center of European medicine, began to study alcohol, and alchemists in the Iberian Peninsula, which was ruled by Islam, began to study alcohol. Thus, distilled water began to be called water of life by Europeans. In medieval Latin, it is called aqua vitae, but as this meaning spread to all parts of the world, it was changed to the words aquavit, eau de vie, and whiskey and settled down. The materials were also very diverse. In southern Europe, such as southern France and Italy, alcohol such as brandy or cognac was distilled into fruit wine, such as wine, and Scotch whiskey made by fermenting barley like beer and then distilling it in Scotland, and vodka made using potatoes or wheat in northern and eastern Europe. Distilled water gradually spread to Asia as well. In particular, the Mongol Empire, which conquered both China and Islam, played a big role. The Chinese, who had previously drank huangju made by fermenting grains, perfected the distillation technology after Mongolia's Jihei and began to enjoy baekju like Jeollyeongju in earnest. And Korea introduced the distillation technology through Mongolia for the first time. The history of soju, which is now the most consumed by Koreans, also began at this time. Gaesong and Andong, which were the capitals of the time, made many distilled beverages, and Gaesong soju and Andong soju continue their reputation to this day. Like this, alcohol that has been with mankind since the beginning and has been constantly developing. However, as the development progressed, there were not a few side effects. About 200 years ago, the disease of alcoholism began to be discussed in earnest. And the United States even enacted a prohibition law in the early 20th century. No matter how good it is, it becomes too common, and if you don't control it, it becomes poison. It's the same with alcohol. In fact, each type of alcohol has a deep and complicated history, so in this video, we briefly explore the origin of alcohol. Within this year, we will also make a video detailing the history of world-famous liquor. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe and like it, and I'll come back with a more fun and informative video. Thank you.